So let's talk about the Boston Celtics and their rough loss against the New York Knicks in a game where I wasn't totally surprised. Sam Hauser was not suited for the game. But when you're looking at the overall roster of Boston right now, you got guys like Shireman, Luka Garza was starting, and now you're trying to insert Vucevic into the Boston system. There's going to be some growing pains in offense. I thought on Friday Vucevic was much better. I like the actions they ran in the post where he set up some open threes with his playmaking. I think that's going to be a nice addition to the Celtics. I understand he's got some limitations with his rim protection, which is going to frustrate Boston fans at time. And I do believe the Celtics need to add another rim protector because I think Luka Garza is just a 1-year rental. I don't think you got to keep a guy like him around who does have the same limitations as Vucevic. So outside of Kada, I think Boston needs to find another center to protect the rim. And for Vucevic, it's great to have him off the bench. That's a great move by Joe Mazzulla. You start Neemias Queta. The only change I would suggest for the Celtics right now is starting Jordan Walsh because let's face it, Baylor Scheierman, yes, he had 13 rebounds, but his defense is just not that great. And I understand Shireman is, I believe, 25 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan Walsh is only 21 years old. And at the time the Celtics were taken off, he was in the starting lineup and he got pulled out of nowhere against the Kings. He didn't play the entire second half. It was a weird move by Joe Mazzulla, but if I'm looking at the roster and I'm trying to maximize everything, obviously I'm starting Kada. I'm starting Jordan Walsh. I'm starting Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Sam Hauser. And then I'm bringing Pritchard, Vucevic, and Shireman and those guys off the bench. I think Garza needs to stay far away from a starting rotational opportunity because he just has limitations and he's better as a third center for this current roster. Now, there was a huge report that dropped today about Jason Tatum, and let's talk about that because as a Boston fan, man, I'm torn about this because Tatum coming back does help out a lot of the areas of ball handling with rebounding. But my concern is if the Celtics go up against the Detroit Pistons, who are super physical, you got Duran, you got Stewart, who can just get under your skin, and they play a physical style basketball. Can Tatum's Achilles hold up in that matchup? It's a huge risk because what if he gets hurt again? What if something else happens to him? I just don't know if Tatum's going to be ready for that type of basketball. Now he has plenty of playoff experience. He knows about physicality, and they're going to have the experience on their side. But that matchup does concern me. You would hope that the Cavaliers would take them out, assuming the playoff seeding stay the same, and then you just battle against the Knicks in the second round. That would be my hope. However, I think the Knicks right now are still really tough to deal with. Alvarado being a pickup for New York, I thought was a brilliant move by the Knicks. Just gives them another guard in case Deuce McBride can't get healthy or can't get enough reps in where he's not at his best. So I do like that addition by the New York Knicks. So today it was reported that Jason Tatum is going to be assigned to participate in the main Celtics practice at the Arbach Center this afternoon. After this practice, he'll be immediately recalled to the Boston Celtics where he'll continue his rehab process. It makes you wonder, is Tatum coming back soon? If you add Jason Tatum back to the Boston Celtics, things might change in the Eastern Conference very quickly, especially if Tatum looks like himself. And that's a big if. As a Boston fan, I do have my concerns. Now, if he's back in the lineup, that's going to take away minutes from guys like Hugo and Shireman because Tatum's going to play like 30, 35 minutes a night. And then that also eats away the minutes at Jordan Walsh. So Joe Mazzulla is going to have a decision to make when Tatum returns. And if I'm inserting Tatum back into the lineup, I don't want him in the paint trying to grab so many rebounds. I would just keep Jason Tatum away from guarding any big men right now because he's got to get healthy. I would just put him on the weakest offensive player out there just to keep him fresh on offense because if he's got limitations and he can't guard at the capacity that he normally can play at, then you have to be very, very careful with Jason Tatum. Now, if he's looking like himself, he's there mentally, and his defense looks unbelievable. Now, all of a sudden, the Celtics have a very good shot of going to the NBA Finals because you insert Jason Tatum back into the lineup, and then we know Pritchard's on the bench. That also takes out Shireman or Walsh, whoever's starting, out of the lineup. And now you have Vucevic, Pritchard, and then you've got a combination of Walsh and these other dudes off the bench. You got a nice 8 to 9 man rotation going to the playoffs. So that's very intriguing. And yesterday's game against the Knicks, I wasn't really concerned because I've been overjoyed by the success of Boston this year. I had them as a play-in team because let's face it, we didn't know what we were going to get out of Namus Keita. He looks like a really good center and somebody they're going to start with Tatum and Brown. That's a huge W. You look at guys like Hugo Gonzalez, who's got a lot of upside. We saw Jordan Walsh show flashes of tremendous defense. We've seen Shireman's offense make an impact for the Celtics this year. The reason why all those things are important is because Brad Stevens is going to trade a few of these guys. You can't have Jordan Walsh, Jason Tatum, Sam Hauser, Baylor Shireman, and Hugo Gonzalez at the wing position. There's a lot of redundancy. So I believe Brad would trim some of that down. And it's going to come down to two guys, in my opinion. I think Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh are the odd men out. And you have to ask yourself, which guy are you willing to take a gamble on? Because Jordan Walsh is 21 years old, so you would expect his offense to become more polished and develop as he grows into an NBA player. But you've got a more experienced guy in Baylor Shireman who's more polished on offense, but his defense has limitations. So they got to figure out that. This isn't me personally. I would keep Jordan Walsh because I believe defense is premium and rebounding is huge in the NBA, especially as a long 3-and-D wing guy. You can have him guard multiple positions, whereas at the forward or guard position, I think that provides more value for the Celtics than a guy like Baylor Shireman. So when you're looking at the roster for the Celtics, they're going to be fine. They're third in the Eastern Conference. They've already exceeded all our expectations. And let's just say Jason Tatum doesn't make a return. The ceiling is the second round. And even if you get a 7% Jason Tatum, that's cool and all, but I still think the ceiling is going to be the second round of the playoffs this year. I feel better about this team going forward because really they only need two more pieces to truly contend for a championship. And that's adding another rim protector as a third center and adding a point of attack defender at the guard position who can shoot well from three and play make at a high level because Derek White is a better help defender. And that's another thing about Derek White. I know he's not shooting well from the field, but you have to remember he has more shot attempts. That's a career high for him. And I think he'll do much better as a third or fourth option. He's been elite on defense. It's just second option Derek White is not his best role. So I'm more than encouraged right now. The Celtics are going to be just okay. No need to panic about yesterday. The Knicks are just a better team currently constructed. And if the Celtics make a surprise run, if Tatum looks like a top 5 player, man, that's going to be fun to watch. We shall see. But hope you guys enjoy my thoughts about the Celtics right now. Do you agree or disagree? What do you want to see from Boston going forward to upgrade the roster? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.